Each square.
Which one, the small one or the big one?
Small one.
Okay. It's Take a Tip Tuesday.
Do you want to know how to make a plain wall into a nice wood panel accent wall?
It's a DIY project, so let's get started. Hi, my name is Kristina Smallhorn, your real estate whisperer for Ascension Parish, providing you the best real estate tips with a dash of humor. Be sure to subscribe now so you'll miss any of my best real estate tips. This week we're going to be doing a DIY project together, my husband and I. This is Eddie Smallhorn.
Hi.
And we're just going to show you how to create an accent wall in your home after either you purchased a home or you're about to put your house up for sale, just to add a little bit more interest to that space.
And it's quick, easy, and cheap.
Quick, easy, and cheap. The best way to do it. So we're just gonna go ahead and get started right now. So the first thing we did was we actually cleaned up my office space. It's a space that I use for live streaming on Thursday nights. We do a real estate trivia show together. And the wall was kind of boring. So we went ahead and took down all the pictures that were on the walls and cleaned out that space.
Next, you fill up all the holes.
Eddie was insistent that we go ahead and spackle up every single hole because he didn't think the wood paneling over those holes was going to be enough protection. So we went ahead and spackled up those holes.
You should fill up every hole.
Apparently. And then the next thing we did was we measured the wall to know how many wood planks that we actually needed. Time to measure.
97.5 inches.
I need to write it down.
So we needed 21 wood planks, 8-foot wood planks. 18 of them we purchased were pine and 3 were cedar.
They're actually fencing planks because that was the least expensive thing that we could find. Now they do make other kinds of planks that you could put on the wall that like lock together, and they were a little less expensive, but that wouldn't give us that rustic wood feel that we were looking for.
So the next thing we had to do was look for our studs. We marked the tops and the bottoms of those with our trusty stud finder.
I'm the stud finder. I found Eddie. Eddie's gonna find some studs.
And after that, we go ahead and pop the chalk lines, which this one gets chalk everywhere.
You turned the chalk thing upside down. So he turns it upside down so all the chalk like falls out of the bottom, and that's my fault.
Your fault.
It's chalk lines.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
Let's go to this one.
Oh my God, I'm covered in blue chalk.
How'd you get all covered?
I don't know. You pulled that down and like all that chalk.
Right.
And so we popped the chalk lines, and we knew where we wanted to put the nails, so that way they would hook up into the wall correctly and they would be nice and sturdy.
So next is my favorite spot. Next, I get the roofing torch out and go ahead and pull all the grains out of all those wood planks.
That actually came from a friend of ours that said that if you torch the wood, it would give that nice look of the older painted rustic look that we were looking for. So I gave him permission to go ahead and pull out fire. But then after that, we decided that we needed to age each one of the planks, and I wanted them to each look differently. And so we had 3 different kinds of paint, and I'm gonna explain that process to you right now on how we painted the boards and how we got the look for each one. This is our wood! Yay!
We got wood!
We have wood. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you how I did this, okay? For pieces like this, I just did 1 coat of paint, no water, okay? This one I did 3/4 water to 1/4 paint. This one was just 1 coat of paint.
And then what she's also forgetting to tell you a little bit is that after you paint this, especially with the water, you go back through with a dry rag or a wet rag and you pull off the excess beforehand, so it pulls out some of these grains right here of the wood that was burnt through.
You didn't get as much color because like when we did this one, it was half water, half paint, and then we wiped it off and then it left it like this. But we ended up liking that look because they were just trying to make all the boards look a little bit different, so it has that aged look.
But the one thing it did do was give it that glazed look, so the charcoal or the burnt stuff didn't come off of it.
Right, so you don't have, like, if you had left that burnt wood there, you would have like ash on your hands, but this made it so the ash or those dark pieces won't get on there. But this one is half wood, half paint, half water. But it, you know, so it goes almost like a pickled almost look to it. And we went with the cooler gray tones, but we did do some beiges as well. Oh, I'm sorry, this one is a beige. So it's half beige paint, half water. And then we used white paint, and then we used a blue-gray as well. So with those painted pieces that you just saw, we went ahead and let those dry overnight. And the next morning was time for us to hang our first pieces. And how is it that you actually cut those first pieces?
So you use two tools, either one, either a circular saw, which is a little bit tougher to do, or a miter saw. It's 6 inches, so it's no more than a baseboard, makes it easy for cutting. As far as trying to find a rhyme or reason, we didn't really have a rhyme or reason, and I think that kind of helped out with the rustic look that we had.
Yeah, absolutely. And when we picked out the pieces, Eddie was like, this is like putting Legos together, because some of the pieces were shorter and some of them were longer. So we've seen several videos where they actually start the planks at the bottom and then they work their way to the top. But then they found out the wall wasn't square. So when they got to the very top, there was like a piece that was like thin on one side and then got thicker on the other side because the wall wasn't completely square. So I have this grand idea of actually doing it starting from the top and working your way down. So that way, when you have a piece that might be not exactly square, then it would be at the very bottom and you wouldn't notice the fact that it's a little bit smaller on one side than compared to the other, like you would if it was at the top. And he's sawing away. We just kind of let our eye and our imagination kind of create the wall for itself.
Her eye and imagination.
But you had your input too. But my input always won.
Of course.
And so as we were putting them up, one of the things that I thought was a neat trick that we learned from Finished Carpentry TV was to space out each one of the planks. We used a speed square. So that was actually the way that we spaced each one of the planks all the way down.
We're gonna take the thickness of your speed square. We're gonna put it in between the two. Across. So it gives you just a little bit of space in between. Can you hand me the nail gun? So what we do is bring it right to our chalk line.
Ta-da!
Gave us just enough width and kept it even all the way up and down.
Yep, it looked really nice. And then what did we do?
So then you bring your pieces in, you would just put them in dry, just make sure that they fit. Then you would take wood glue, put it up against the wall, and then nail away.
All right, it's coming along, but we hit our first snag. You see this? Look. This is actually getting thinner on the way down, and our boards just fit in there. Does it fit in the hole? Still. Oh, look at that. You're gonna lose a finger, kid. Good enough, yay! Yeah, that wood glue was kind of fun, and nailing was even better. Eddie,
Of course.
Eddie did let me snap it a few times.
And,
pew, pew, pew.
And how did you know where to nail?
Yeah, because Eddie put those chalk lines up.
Or you put the chalk lines up?
Well, we did it together. We put the chalk lines up, and they, I was able to know exactly where I was supposed to go, and it went up fairly quickly. All the way till the point where we get to the outlet. Once we got to the outlet, that took some imagination. We argued about that for a couple minutes, but we figured it out, and it was good. We got it done.
How many nails did you put in each stud? Do you remember?
2.
Yes.
Yeah, I put 2 nails in each stud, unless there was like a seam that was kind of like some of the wood was kind of warped. So in the seam, some of them I would actually add a nail in there, so that way the wood would be, connected together.
Nail happy.
Yeah, totally nail happy. But I think the project turned out really nice, and it is a great way to add a great accent to a wall or a space, or even a live streaming space like you and I do on Thursday night for trivia night.
And then after that, all it is sit back and admire your work.
Yeah, it was a sit back and admire your work. And then Eddie put up some nice lights for me, which took all afternoon today.
Nobody's gonna know about that. All in all, I think the project turned out great.
I do too, and I want to thank you for helping me with everything, even though we fought like cats and dogs. We nearly killed each other, and he didn't let me use the flamethrower, which I was pouting about.
I like the hairs on my legs.
If you like some more buying and selling tips, you can always visit my website at yourrealestatewhisperer.com. My name is Kristina Smallhorn.
I'm Eddie Smallhorn.
And we tell you all this
because you matter. All in all, I think the project turned out great.
Try it one more time because I was looking at the camera.
All in all, I think the project turned out great. All in all, I think the project turned out great.
Stop. You just keep, like, let me breathe. Go ahead.